Welcome back, my friends, to your channel. Today we are going to continue to talk about virtualization and Hyper-V. But please, before we continue, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos to come. I will continue with virtualization by showing you a feature of the virtual hard drive. We may mount the virtual hard drive into the physical computer as if we have connected this disk as an external hard disk. As you may see, it shows as a D drive inside the physical computer, and now we may browse into it, and we may copy data from it. We may copy data into it as if we are using an external hard drive. We will copy data from the physical computer, from the desktop of the physical computer, into this mounted virtual hard drive, where we will find this data once we start the virtual machine again. One important thing to know is that if we try to start the virtual machine while the virtual hard disk is mounted, it will not start. It will state an error that the virtual disk is in use. So we have to go to this PC and then right click on the mounted disk, and then we will eject it as similar as we eject an external hard drive. Now we will start the virtual machine and it will start normally, as you may see in the image. Now once the VM started normally and we entered it, then we are able to see the data that we have copied from the physical disk into the virtual machine, as you may see. Now, as we mentioned before, that the created virtual disk, since it is dynamically expanding, it will start with a small size. Now, as you may see in the image, the size of the virtual machine test D is 167 megabyte almost. Now, we will go and copy the data from the desktop of the VM into the D drive of the VM, and then we will go and check again the size of the virtual disk D in the physical server, where we will see that it gets expanded as we write data. We will see that the size of the disk is getting bigger than the 167. As you may see now, we are going to check the hard disk in its physical place inside the documents where we placed the VM, and we will find that the size now is 740 megabyte. Another feature to talk about for the VM is if we go to the VM settings, we may find something called checkpoint. We may enable this checkpoint, and we may choose where to store the checkpoint. Usually we store it in a different place than the VM itself. The point of this checkpoint is as a restore point for the VM in case anything happened to the VM. For example, if we want to try anything new in the VM and inside the operating system, and we are doubt that these changes will make the Windows get damaged for any reason, or it will not work correctly, then we will create a checkpoint. As you may see, we just right click and create a checkpoint, and then after the checkpoint is created, now you can see that there is a checkpoint created. We may try anything we want in the VM, and once we find that it didn't work, we just right click on the VM and we may revert back to this checkpoint at any time, and it will start again from the point that we take the checkpoint, from the moment that we take the checkpoint, as if no changes have happened whatsoever. Another important thing to know about virtual machines is that there's something called replication. We may right click on the VM and enable replication, and then we will follow the wizard. We'll go to next, and then we will specify the name of the other Hyper-V server where we will replicate our virtual machine. Once we specify the name, we will continue with the wizard. We will specify the connection parameters as it shows in the image. We will choose whether to make the replica as Kerberos HTTP or as HTTPS in case we want the copy of the data to be encrypted. And then we will specify the authorization and the storage. We will choose whether to allow any replica to any server to replicate with this server, or specific servers only. And we also will specify the storage on the replica server where we will store the replicated data. Then we will choose what to replicate. If, for example, if we have more than one virtual drive, we may replicate all the virtual drives, or we may choose just one virtual drive to be replicated. And then after that, we will specify the frequency of replication, whether we want it to happen every 30 seconds, every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes. It depends on our choice and what we are planning to do with the replication of this VM. Then we will specify if we want to maintain only the latest recovery point or maybe more than one recovery point. And then we will start with the initial replication. Usually we use it over the network, and we may choose to start the replication immediately, or we may specify a time for the replication over the network in case we don't want to copy a huge number of data during the working hours. We may specify, for example, to start the replication at evening, the initial replication, because it will be, for example, if the VHD is 30 gig, it will copy 30 gig from one server to another over the network, and we don't want to do that while during the working hours. Finally, we will finalize the replication wizard, and now we will have a replicated virtual machine on another Hyper-V server where it will replicate the changes by the time. Any changes that happen in the original virtual machine will be replicated on the other virtual machine. Now, in case anything happens to the physical server, for example, or maybe to the virtual machine itself, we may go and fail over, make a start failover on the replicated virtual machine, and we are done. There's almost no downtime. Now I want to show you one important thing, that if we deleted the virtual machine, it will not delete all the files. As you may see here, the disks of the VM are still there. It only deleted the VM, the virtual machine data, which means that if we deleted the VM from the Hyper-V, we have to go and delete the virtual disks manually. Now, that question that may occur to most of you, how to convert the physical machine into virtual machine. We have something called disk to VHD. As you may see here, it's a small tool from Microsoft. We may start it, and we will follow the wizard and convert the physical machine into a virtual machine. Of course, we may not put the data that we want to convert in the same place, so we will convert all the data except D, and we will put the VHDX, the file that will come out, the VHDX, will put it inside the D drive. Once the disk is created, we will go, for example, to Documents and create a folder called VM, and we will paste the virtual disk, the created virtual disk, into this place. And after the copy is done, we will go and create a virtual machine. But with the wizard of the virtual machine creation, we will specify the hard disk to be the VHDX that we just copied, as you may see in the image. Once we specify this hard disk, we will finalize the creation of virtual machine, and then we will start the VM, and it will start normally as you are seeing. And now we have a VM running with the Windows that we just took a copy of it and converted from physical to virtual. One final thing to let you know about is that if you want to try the virtualization on your own Windows 10 computer, you have to go to Programs and Features, and then you press on Turn on or off Windows features, and inside it you will find the Hyper-V available. You may add it, and then you are able to have your Hyper-V environment inside your Windows 10 computer. This will be all about virtualization and Hyper-V. We will continue with virtualization environment and other features, but for the Hyper-V we are done. I hope it was good enough for you. I'm waiting for your comments, my friend. Please don't hesitate to ask any question, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos to come.